Good evening, ladies as well as gentlemen. Papa Boris here with some more Human Resource Machine. In this video, we're going to tackle Puzzle 38, the digit exploder. I have to make a confession. I am not actually going to show you how to do this with the speed optimization. I haven't been able to figure this out. I haven't even been able to come close. And when I went online to look for it, it's like people were doing just like really ridiculous things. It's very complicated mathematically, at least for me, to figure out how their programs are working. Plus, like, most of the programs I saw had like 500 billion lines of code. So I'm not going to bother with this. So just in the interest of open disclosure, if you're expecting both optimization challenges, unfortunately for this one, I'm only going to do the size challenge. But size challenge I did figure out on my own, so yay, and I managed to beat it by a couple of steps. So yeah, I'm proud of that. And anyway, let's go ahead and start this thing. What our task is in this puzzle actually starts out seeming really simple. All you have to do is just send the digits of the number to the outbox. Like 918, we'd send 9, then 1, then 8. Seems pretty easy, right? But it's actually kind of tricky because what if you get like a 2-digit number? Then you don't want to send a 0 at the beginning. You just need to send a 5 and a 7. Or what if you get a 1-digit number? You just send out a 5. The other complicated thing is if you have a number, we don't have it in the inbox here, but if we have like a number with a 0 in the middle, like a 207, like this is actually really tricky because once you figure out that there are 2 hundreds in it, you like the way you write your code, you're often going to end up like skipping the tens part and jumping straight to the units and missing the 0, or you're going to get in an infinite loop. It's just like a big pain in the ass to cover all the special cases. But anyway, we're going to do it. So over here we're going to have our input variable. This is going to be like our number that we start with. This is going to be the number 10. We're never going to change this. And this is going to be the number 100. We're never going to change that either. This, though, I haven't found a need to have a permanent 0 on the field, so we're just going to call this our hundreds. Basically, this is where I'm going to store how many hundreds the number has, and this is where I'm going to store how many tens the number has. And so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take our number and copy it to the input to save it. And at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just subtract 10 from the number, because if that's negative, that means that we have a single-digit number, and we're just basically just done here. We just copy from the input, outbox it, and then jump back. Like, for example, if you take 5 minus 10 is negative. It's a single-digit number, so all we really have to output is 5. So we just I want to check for this here because it gets messy later on if I don't check for it at the beginning. Now, obviously, all the bulk of the program is going to happen inside this little area right here because most of the time it's not going to be a number less than 10. So what do we do if it's an actual number? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to copy from the input, take our number, and subtract 100. And now, once we subtract 100, we're going to check, okay, is this negative? So if it is a negative number, that means we're done. We have found all of our hundreds in the number. So we're going to copy, oops, that's the wrong thing. We're going to copy whatever our count is of the hundreds digits. And we're going to outbox it. But there's just one quick thing we're going to test. If this is 0, we actually don't want to outbox it. Basically, if the number doesn't have any hundreds digits, this puzzle does not want you to output a 0. It just wants you to output nothing. Like, again, for 57, you would not output 057. You would just output 57. And you might say, but Boris, why don't we just do like a check here, like just like we did for the 10? Like, if we subtract 100 and the first one is negative, then we just like skip to the part of the code where we do the tens. And that actually might be a way to optimize my solution a little bit more. The way I tried it before, I ended up adding more lines of code than it took away. But that is a possibility if you want to do that. So anyway, we subtract 100. If it's negative, we copy from our hundreds and we output it unless it's 0, in which case there are no hundreds, and we move on to the next line of code. And actually, let's see, our next line of code, I think, yeah, we can either like put it on the bottom and skip this part, or we can just keep it here. I think this should be fine. Just keep it here for now. But anyway, if it's not negative, that means we need to keep on subtracting hundreds. So we're gonna bump up our number of hundreds. I beg your pardon. We're first gonna have to copy it. Yeah, we're gonna copy it to the input. So like if we start 918, we subtract 100, we get 818. We need to remember that. So we copy it to the input. We bump up how many hundreds we have, and then we repeat this process, copying from the input and subtracting 100 until we get a negative result. Okay, so at the end of the day, we're going to, actually, I think think this jump is going to the wrong place now. Yeah, that needs to go right there. Okay. So then, eventually, we are gonna copy the number of hundreds digits that we have. And if it's 0, we're not going to do anything, but if it's not 0, we're going to outbox it. And now we need to figure out how many tens digits we have. So this is actually relatively straightforward. We copy whatever number that we have from the input, which at this point should be less than 100. And we're going to subtract 10. And it's really a very similar thing. If it is negative, then we're done. We want to copy how many tens we have counted up till that point and outbox it. And then what's kind of interesting is we're actually at that point going to have just the last digit left over in the input, or we should. So we can just we can have this line of code that we had initially conveniently be in the right place where we just copy whatever's in the input, put it in the outbox, and jump. But, of course, if it's not a negative number, then we save it to the input, and we bump up the number of tens that we have found so far, and we jump back to the beginning to here, where we copy from the input, and then keep subtracting tens until we find a negative number. So at this point, we're almost done. The only thing that we need to do is we need to make sure that our program is set up. It needs to have a 0 in the hundreds at the beginning, and it needs to have a 0 in the tens at the beginning as well. And there's a couple of different ways that you can do it. I'm just going to go ahead and do it right here. So after copying our number to the input, we're going to subtract it to produce a 0, and we're going to copy that 0 to the number of hundreds and to the number of tens. So we're gonna just do that real quick, and then we're gonna get the input number back and proceed with the program. So I think there might be a faster way to do it. I mean, maybe if you just kept this as a 0, copied from here, copied it to the hundreds, copied it. Yeah, you know what? That has to be faster, doesn't it? All right, let's try it. Let's experiment. This could be a horrific disaster, but all right. So there, we're gonna have it like this. So we're gonna copy our number to the input, and then we're going to subtract 10. If it's negative, do a bunch of crap. But as long as it's not negative and we actually have work to do, then we're going to copy from 0, copy it to the tens, and copy it to the hundreds. And we need to now actually change all of the previous things that were pointing at that to the hundreds location. So let's do this. I think that was it, right? Okay, I really hope this is correct. We'll see if it's not. Hopefully I'll be able to debug it and fix it. This is a hard game, so please forgive me. So we take our number, we save it, subtract 10 to see if it's negative. It isn't. So we have to start, our process. We set zeros in our counting variables. We take our input. We subtract 100 from it. And if it's negative, that means we're done. If it's not negative, we need to save this new number, bump up the number of hundreds that we found, and repeat the process. Now this is going to take a lot, because the number was 118, so we're going to have to do this a bunch of times. Okay. Alright, so we're finally down to the number 18. So we put it on slowest speed here. Subtract 100, we finally get a negative result. So it's like, okay, that's how many hundreds we have. So we need to copy the number of hundreds that we found. If it's 0, we don't want to output it, though, because we don't want to put a 0 if it's only a 2 or 1-digit number. And we outbox it. Then we copy our input and subtract 10. Now we're trying to see how many tens there are. So we save our input, bump the number of tens, take our input, subtract 10. Oh, we're done. That's negative. So we copy our number of tens, we outbox it, and then we copy whatever's left in the input, an 8, and we outbox it. So there's our number 918, and we go back to the very beginning. So this should work. Let's see what happens with a 2-digit number. So with a 2-digit number, we save it, we subtract 10. It's not negative. The number's more than 10, so we replace our zeros. Oh, I was wrong. You do want to actually have a 0 here. That saves a line of code compared to what I was doing before. Alright, we take our 57, subtract 100. Oh, there actually aren't any. So we take 100, see that it's actually 0, don't output it. There might be a way to avoid this check here. You know, that might be a place where you could optimize it a little bit more. Then we subtract 10, and okay, this is going to happen, you know, a few times. Because the number was 57. No need to watch all of those. Alright. So we're down to just 7. So we subtract 10. There's our negative numbers. So we copy our number of 10s, which was 5 indeed. And a 7 was left over. So we outbox it. And we jump. And unless I'm crazy, this next number should work because it's the same as 918 basically. I don't see how it would fail. Okay. And then that's that. Alright, 27 commands, but really, really suboptimal, unfortunately. Again, people have found ways to bring this way down, but it's by doing like 500 billion lines of code. I think what people are doing is like creating numbers, like creating the number 300 and then subtracting 300s from the original number, or just some wacky stuff. Like, it's actually kind of difficult and, in my opinion, not very fun mathematically, but this is all I'll do. We beat the size challenge, and it'll be an exercise for the viewer to figure out how to beat the speed challenge. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and or subscribe, and I'll see you again soon with, you know what? I think it's time. We've kind of put this off long enough. I think it's time to go back and do 3 sort in the next one. I'll see you guys then.